I stood in the center of our anniversary party, surrounded by 100 guests, with a microphone in my shaking hand and my wife's horrified face staring back at me from across the room. Her lover was standing right beside her. Neither of them knew I'd switched the romantic slideshow they were about to watch with something else entirely. Something that would destroy both their lives in the next 60 seconds. But let me back up and tell you how I got here. 3 months ago, I thought I had the perfect marriage. My wife Sarah and I had been together for 8 years, married for 5. We had a beautiful home in the suburbs, good jobs, and what I believed was a solid partnership. Sure, things had cooled down a bit in the bedroom over the past year, but I chalked that up to work stress and the normal ebb and flow of a long-term relationship. I was an idiot. It was a Tuesday night when my world collapsed. Sarah said she was working late again, the 3rd time that week. I was home alone, trying to find our insurance documents because our car registration was due. I checked her home office desk, and that's when I found it. Her iPad, sitting there unlocked. I wasn't snooping. I swear I wasn't. But the message notification lit up the screen right as I picked it up, and I saw it before I could stop myself. Can't wait to feel you again tonight. Your husband really has no clue, does he? My blood went cold. The sender was listed as Rachel, Jim. But the message was definitely not from a woman, and definitely not about workout routines. My hands trembled as I opened the message thread. What I found made me physically sick. Months of messages. Explicit photos. Videos. Plans to meet up. And then, scrolling back through weeks of conversations, I found the message that burned itself into my brain. Sarah had written, "I adore him more than you. You have to understand, what we have is just physical." And Rachel's response. "You say that now, but you're always choosing me over him. Actions speak louder, baby." Her next message, "You're right. God, you're right. He's just comfortable. Safe. You make me feel alive." I sat there on the floor of her office for an hour, just reading. Learning about an entire secret life I never knew existed. The affair had been going on for 7 months. 7 months. And Rachel? That was actually Marcus. Marcus Chen, her coworker from the marketing department. The guy she'd mentioned casually a few times. The one she'd told me was happily married with 2 kids. I wanted to storm into wherever she was and confront her. I wanted to scream. I wanted to break things. But something stopped me. Maybe it was shock. Maybe it was the small, rational part of my brain that knew I needed to be smart about this. So instead, I took photos of everything. Every message, every photo, every incriminating detail. I sent them all to my personal email. Then I carefully put the iPad back exactly where I'd found it. When Sarah came home that night at 10:47 p.m., smelling like unfamiliar cologne and with her hair slightly messier than when she'd left, I was sitting on the couch watching TV like nothing had happened. "Hey honey," she said, kissing me on the forehead. The same lips that had been on him hours before. "Sorry I'm so late. The campaign presentation ran long." "No problem," I said calmly. "How'd it go?" "Exhausting," she said with a practiced sigh. "I'm going to shower and head straight to bed." I watched her walk upstairs, and something crystallized inside me. I wasn't going to confront her. Not yet. I was going to be methodical. Strategic. I was going to make sure that when this ended, she would regret every single lie. The next morning, I called in sick to work. As soon as Sarah left for the office, I got to business. First stop, a lawyer. I found one who specialized in infidelity cases and booked an emergency consultation. His name was David Chen, ironically enough, and he was exactly what I needed, sharp, experienced, and ruthless. "Document everything," he told me. "Every expense, every asset, every piece of evidence. In this state, adultery can significantly impact the divorce settlement, especially if we can prove financial infidelity. Financial infidelity. Has she been spending marital funds on the affair? Hotel rooms, gifts, dinners. That money can be recovered. I hadn't even thought of that. But now that he mentioned it, I remembered Sarah had insisted on keeping one credit card separate for her personal expenses. At the time, I'd thought nothing of it. Now, it seemed suspicious. David gave me homework. Check bank statements. Check credit cards. Install recovery software on our shared computer to retrieve deleted files. Check phone records. Build an airtight case. And whatever you do, he said, don't let her know you know. Not yet. The moment she suspects something, she'll start hiding assets and covering her tracks. I spent the next 2 weeks becoming someone I never thought I'd be, a detective in my own marriage. I installed a keylogger on our home computer and discovered she had a secret email account. Through that, I found receipts for hotel rooms, lingerie I'd never seen, expensive gifts for him. All purchased with our joint savings account that we were supposedly saving for a down payment on a bigger house. She'd spent nearly $15,000 on this affair. I checked our phone records and found hundreds of calls between her and Marcus, often late at night when she claimed to be already asleep. I even drove by the hotel she'd mentioned in one of her messages and confirmed with the front desk clerk that yes, a couple matching their description had been regular guests. I showed my wedding photo and asked if that was the woman. The clerk, a young guy who looked uncomfortable, nodded. But the worst discovery came when I recovered deleted files from our laptop. There were documents. Plans. Sarah and Marcus had been talking about running away together. There was a draft email to divorce attorneys. A spreadsheet calculating how much money she could get from me in a divorce. A list of our assets and which ones she planned to claim. They'd been planning this for months. She wasn't just cheating on me. She was strategically positioning herself to leave me and take as much as possible. One document in particular made my blood boil. It was titled, The Plan, and laid out exactly how she would gaslight me into thinking I was the problem in our marriage, making the divorce seem like my fault to our friends and family. There were literally scripted conversations she planned to have. Reading that, something inside me shifted from hurt to cold, calculating fury. If she wanted to play games, I'd show her what a real game looked like. Our 8th anniversary was coming up in 3 weeks. Sarah had suggested we throw a big party, invite all our friends and family. At the time, I thought it was sweet. Now, I realized she was probably planning to use it as a going-away party before serving me with divorce papers. Perfect. Let's do it, I told her that night at dinner. Let's make it really special. Invite everyone. I want to celebrate us. She looked surprised but pleased. Really? I thought you'd think it was too much. No, I said, holding her hand across the table and looking into her lying eyes. I want everyone we love to be there. I want them to see what we have. What I didn't tell her was that I'd already filed for divorce. The papers were drawn up, signed, and ready to be served. I'd transferred my personal assets into a separate account David had helped me set up. I'd documented every penny she'd spent on the affair. I'd compiled a comprehensive folder of evidence that would eviscerate her in court. But the legal victory wasn't enough. I wanted her to feel the same humiliation, the same public devastation that I'd felt privately for weeks. The party planning began. Sarah was excited, throwing herself into it. She wanted to do a slideshow of our relationship, showcasing our happy memories. She spent hours curating photos, adding music, making it perfect. What she didn't know was that I had access to her laptop. And the night before the party, while she slept peacefully next to me, I replaced her carefully crafted slideshow with my own version. The day of the party arrived. Our backyard was transformed with string lights, a catering setup, a bar, and a projector screen for the slideshow. 100 people showed up, our parents, siblings, friends, co-workers, from both our jobs. Sarah had even invited Marcus and his wife, Jennifer. I'd insisted on it, actually, claiming I wanted to get to know her work friends better. Sarah had looked nervous but agreed. I watched Marcus arrive with his pregnant wife, his arm around her, playing the devoted husband. The rage I felt was ice-cold and controlled. The party was in full swing when Sarah clinked her glass and called for everyone's attention. This was it. The moment for the slideshow. "Thank you all so much for coming," she said, her arm around my waist. I felt physically sick at her touch. "We wanted to celebrate 8 amazing years together and share some memories with you all." She nodded to her brother, who was controlling the laptop. "Hit it, Jake." The lights dimmed. The projector flickered to life. For the first few seconds, it was exactly what everyone expected. A photo of Sarah and me on our wedding day. Then another from our honeymoon. Awes and smiles from the crowd. Then the images changed. Up on the screen, 12 feet tall for everyone to see, appeared a screenshot of text messages between Sarah and Marcus. The gasp started immediately. "What the hell?" Sarah started, lunging toward her brother and the laptop. But I caught her arm. "Wait," I said loudly enough for everyone to hear. "I worked hard on this. Let them see." The next slide was a photo of Sarah and Marcus in a hotel room, clearly intimate, clearly not caring that they were documenting their affair. "Turn it off!" Sarah screamed. But her brother, reading the messages now appearing on screen, looked from the laptop to his sister with disgust and didn't move. The slideshow continued. More messages. "I adore him more than you," featured prominently, blown up in 72-point font. Photos of receipts showing the money she'd spent. Screenshots of her plan document, including the parts where she discussed manipulating me. I'd edited it all into a neat, 6-minute presentation with timestamps and dates. A comprehensive overview of a 7-month affair, complete with evidence that would be admissible in court. The crowd was in chaos. Some people were crying. Others were yelling. Sarah's mother was screaming at her. Marcus's pregnant wife had collapsed into a chair, sobbing. Marcus himself tried to leave, but Sarah's father and my brother blocked his path. Through it all, I stood there calmly, holding the microphone. When the slideshow ended, I finally spoke. "Thank you all for coming tonight," I said, my voice amplified over the chaos. "I wanted you all here because Sarah and I both believe that the people who love us should know the truth about our marriage." Sarah was crying now, mascara running down her face, trying to push through the crowd toward me. "The truth is," I continued, "my wife has been having an affair with her co-worker Marcus for 7 months. She spent $15,000 of our joint savings on hotels, gifts, and romantic getaways with him. She's been planning to divorce me and take as much money as possible, while making it seem like I was the problem in our marriage." I pulled out an envelope from my jacket pocket. "So I'm saving her the trouble. Sarah, consider yourself served. The divorce papers are in this envelope, along with copies of everything you just saw for your attorney. I'll be filing for an at-fault divorce based on adultery, and I'll be seeking reimbursement for all marital funds you spent on your affair." I handed her the envelope. She took it with shaking hands, unable to even speak. Then I turned to Marcus, who looked like he might throw up. "Marcus, your wife Jennifer might be interested to know that the HR department at your company has also received a full report about your affair with a subordinate. Sarah technically reports to you, doesn't she? That's a pretty serious ethics violation. I'd expect a call from your boss on Monday." His face went white. Finally, I addressed the crowd one last time. "I'm sorry you all had to see this. I'm sorry this is how our anniversary party ended. But I wanted the truth to be public because Sarah has spent months planning to rewrite history and make me the villain. Now everyone knows exactly who's responsible for destroying this marriage." I set down the microphone and walked out of my own party, leaving behind the wreckage of Sarah's carefully constructed lies. That was 3 months ago. The fallout was exactly as brutal as I'd hoped. Sarah tried to call me hundreds of times that night and in the days after. I blocked her number. She tried to come to the house, but I'd already changed the locks. She showed up at my office, and security escorted her out. Her family was devastated. Her mother called to apologize to me, crying. Her father told her not to come home. Her friends all took my side after seeing the evidence. Marcus lost his job within a week. The company couldn't ignore such a blatant ethics violation, especially with a pregnant wife involved. Jennifer filed for divorce and took their kids across the country to live with her parents. Sarah tried to fight the divorce, but with all the evidence I'd compiled, her lawyer basically told her to accept whatever I offered or face a trial that would destroy her even more publicly. The settlement was finalized last week. She got almost nothing. Because she'd spent so much marital money on the affair, and because we live in an at-fault divorce state, the judge ruled heavily in my favor. I kept the house, the majority of our savings, my retirement accounts, everything. She moved in with a friend and, last I heard, was working at a different company for significantly less money. As for me, I'm doing better than I ever expected. The anger has faded into something lighter. Relief, maybe. Freedom, definitely. I've started dating again and realized how much I'd settled in my marriage. How much I'd ignored my own needs to accommodate someone who was just using me. Last week, I ran into Sarah at a coffee shop. She looked tired, older somehow. She tried to approach me, maybe to apologize or explain. I don't know. I looked at her and remembered that message, I adore him more than you. And I realized something. I didn't care anymore. She was a stranger to me now. I nodded politely and walked past her without a word. Because the best revenge isn't the dramatic public exposure, though that felt pretty good. The best revenge is moving on and building a better life while she's stuck dealing with the consequences of her choices. She adored him more than me. That's fine. Because I've learned to adore myself enough not to accept anything less than I deserve. And that's worth more than any marriage to someone like her could ever be.